Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and it is Friday when I am posting this, which means I bring to you yet another obscurity in literature. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon how you look at things, we are definitely down a bit of a Palladium rabbit hole. So if that frightens you off, click on the next video. If that intrigues you, keep watching. So I blame this book for getting the whole ball rolling again. And even more so, I blame Riffs prior to that because it has had a special spot in my heart all these many years since it first debuted. But Splicers really got my imagination firing again. Really enjoyed it. Would really actually love to play something, but I really loved the art and the background. And that was one of the things that I've absolutely always loved about the Palladium stuff. Just a bunch of interesting ideas intermixed between a lot of rules that I can't make sense of and a format that has me flipping pages constantly. And that brought me to the Charles Walton art book, Future Visions, which was pretty cool. And there's a video on it if you want to dig out some really nice, pencil line work. But that's not what we're going to talk about today, because I knew somewhere in my collection I also had the Zeleznik book, and I found it finally, and we have to have a video on that. So Riffs and the Megaverse, the Art of John Zeleznik. Now, whether or not you're an actual fan of the company or the product line, there is no denying, get that sentence out correct, that the artwork really appeals to a base part of my brain, that 13-year-old that was first discovering, heavy metal, punk rock and girls, and giant robots and mecha and anime, and it was everything that a teenager could want. One of the first things that you obviously notice, the quality of the paper. It's like on this nice, slick, shiny stuff, but then it's also in color for the most part. Obviously, we have a bit of an intro and a background and stuff, but then we actually get into the color art now. Zeleznik's done all sorts of art for Palladium in his long and illustrious career. Quite a few book covers are in here. Quite a few pieces I wasn't even aware that he did, which was kind of cool. Quite a few books that I recall and remember. So what's interesting is the earlier books, we have a lot of actual early sketch work prior to the advent of everybody using Photoshop and doing it on there, using everything on computers. But it is cool to see a lot of the original designs, color sketches, and then obviously seeing the final products as well. I don't think those are actual letters. We'll pretend those are Atlantean scribbles. But yeah, that is from the Riffs Japan book. I always like that dragon art. Looked all fancy and airbrushed. Cover of Juicer Uprising. Honestly, that was always one of my favorite books. Juicer Uprising, Triax, and this one. This is the cover for the Coalition War Campaign. And this book is nothing but robot porn. If you like, I shouldn't even say robot porn, military hardware porn. It's giant robots, tanks, suits of armor, and somebody made the correlation, because I was talking with a student the other day about the old Richard Scarry books. And I don't know about you guys, but I had a ton of those as a kid, looking through those where they'd have everything labeled and just spread out across the page. I think I was talking to somebody about Brandon Graham's Prophet. I don't know if I ever did a video on Prophet on this channel. Maybe I need to. Anyway, I think that was always one of the intrinsic things of the Palladium books I liked, was that they had all these layouts of just cool, splashy pages of artwork and weapons and gear and all these stats and numbers and names. I always dug that. Tons of little thumbnails here for, I believe this is going to be the Lone Star cover. I like some of his original ideas better than the actual cover. I didn't like the white. Too white for me. What is this for? Dragons and Gods. I don't think I own that one. It's funny because over the years I have slowly been trying to reacquire a lot of these books. I know I had Mystic Japan. at one point. I think it was called that. Or Mystic China. May have had that too. Never had the New West, Spirit West, any of those books. I know I have Scrapers. Scrapers is like the superhero parallel dimension. Some very nice black and white inkware. It always reminds me of like Tim Bradstreet stuff. Almost Brahm-like in the layout and composition. Use of the colors, and can't complain there. Brahm was always a cool artist. It's kind of nice to see some of just this sheer line art, not all the flashiness, you know, even this nice kind of setup for interior art there for the book. I will admit I have not read that book as in depth as I have others, but I want to say Zeleznik was quite influential, and it was kind of his baby that he brought to the table. Definitely some nice work, like I said here. I don't think we get a lot of line art from him usually. Usually we get like the painted covers. Aliens from Scrapers, I can't remember the name of. Preliminary sketches for the cover. Coalition Navy book. Now that's one I've always wanted to read. If you guys have any interesting recommendations, if you still have any of these books, by all means, please share them. I'm curious. Old Kingdom. Okay, that looks like fantasy stuff. We kind of hop between fantasy and superhero stuff as well. Here's another book that I've always had my eye on. I never got. It sounded really cool. Systems Shock. This is like peak Y2K RPG tabletop stuff, where the Earth is invaded, and due to everything that was going on, we have to fight off giant bugs on Earth. Why not, right? I've always heard good things about just the craziness of the hero RPGs that Palladium made. Never tried any. I don't know why this thing has always reminded me of like a Votom's mecha, like one of the Blue Knight Samus armor flying around here. Yes, I remember the names. Do I remember what it stands for? Not so much. This is more of like the later new school Coalition designs, if you're unfamiliar. Coalition War, they have like a big fancy redesign of a lot of the old school Skull stuff. More fantasy. The Rift's Adventure Guide. That's a cool looking cover. This thing always reminded me of Dangaio, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the colors. I was going to say, this looks like Phase World stuff. In fact, I think there was a black and white line art version. That looks like Beyond the Supernatural. Yeah, it's nice, but it's not Richard Corbin nice. So for me, I have to give the crown to the original Beyond the Supernatural that Corbin did. It looks like China. Yeah. Mystic China. I'm skipping a ton of stuff, but that's okay. To me, I think the real charm of this is getting to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Really rough pencils, you know, kind of inked in. And for somebody like me who has a horrible sense of perspective and just drawing backgrounds, it's neat to see how things come to completion, for sure. Then we have the big fancy double-page spread of everything all put into place. Oh, this is on the Ultimate Edition. One of these days I'm going to pick a copy up. I always love the Chi-Town designs. This stuff blew my mind as a kid. But then again, as a kid, I was also, you know, really deep into, like, Shadowrun and stuff. So it fit right in. Look at that stuff. Battle Angel Alita. I loved Alita growing up. Some other random book. Yeah, some other random book. Some more fantasy stuff, but the fantasy stuff to me is like a dime a dozen. I mean, it looks nice and it's really competently made. But to me, the cool stuff is just the weird hodgepodge style of riffs. So a fun trip down memory lane. Obviously, like I said, some of those books I still own. Some of those books I remember fondly, but definitely the artwork has left a lasting impression on my mind. Whether or not this is in publication anymore, I could not tell you. I'm going to guess probably. I mean, it seems like a nice book to keep in publication. But then again, the Charles Walton book here, far as I can tell, this thing is like just straight up ghosted off of anywhere online. So who knows? If you're curious about it, if you like riffs, if you like that crazy everything in the kitchen sink style approach to both games and artwork, I don't think you can really go wrong with this. And worst case, you know, you can always get a second hand if you don't want to support Palladium. I'm not gonna knock you. No shame there. I know that feeling. So anyway, yeah, fun trip down memory lane, and I will try to dig out some stuff that is not riffs or splicers related moving forward, at least for the time being, unless you guys really want that. I mean, heck, I can go do a book by book, play by play on just about the entire Megaverse stuff, unfortunately. So yeah, those nerd tendencies run deep still. So yeah, with that said though, this has been High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye bye.